Hi, this is John, and welcome to another edition of Statistics Tell a Story. For week four of the NFL, I'm making three bets. Of course, as always, I will give the five selections in my contest. To update, I am 8-7 in my contest, which is on DraftKings, 5 games against the spread. And betting, I went 2-1-1 last week, so I believe 5-5-1 without thoroughly checking for the first 3 weeks. So for week four, uh, one of my three bets, actually my top bet is New England giving 5.5 points to Carolina. A lot of people look at this spot and think that it's a little bit high, which right off the bat I kind of like because it tells me it's maybe a contrarian pick. What happened was New England dominated Pittsburgh and lost last week. Carolina won 30-0 over Atlanta in one of the flukiest 30-point victories you'll ever see, as Atlanta had, I believe, 100 more total yards and outgained them something like 1 yard more per play. So two very misleading results. The fact is that the Carolina's big win sets them up in a negative trend for them, and conversely, New England has some positive trend indicators. Also, New England, while having a kind of a new offensive line, I mean, um, Mike Vrabel overhauled basically the whole team. So there's very little, if any, of the Bill Belichick era left. But one of the things was their offensive line. And I believe something I've been looking at a little more thoroughly the last year or so is offensive line continuity. And I believe New England has had all five starters for their first 3 games. And so that's another just small plus that I like about New England. But giving 5.5, that is my top pick. Second pick is Tampa getting 3.5 points from Philadelphia. Both teams, Tampa's at home, both teams are 3-0. Both teams almost could be 0-3. Tampa, I believe, has had three fourth quarter game winning drives in the last few minutes. Baker Mayfield. And Philly won in a crazy fashion last week against the Rams, coming back from 19 points down. So one thing I'm going to do, I can say ahead of time, is whoever wins this game, I'm almost certainly betting against them this week, next week. But in so both you could argue are due for a letdown this week. So why do I like one of the teams? Tampa's getting 3.5 points, so you're beyond that 3 points, which is a key number to begin with. Secondly, Tampa does have some injuries, but I think they're a little bit overstated. They are getting Chris Godwin back. Philly has some injuries also. My model actually has Tampa as a slight favorite. And so that's really why I like Tampa getting 3.5 points. Philly also, with their offensive philosophy, tends to play a lot of kind of low scoring games. They'll play out the clock where, because they know that they can keep converting. Not always, of course, but they can get the 3 yards, the 3 yards, the 3 yards, and then on 4th and 1, they'll do the tush push and they'll convert a fourth down. So that makes for long drives, actually kind of shortens the game, and it lends itself a little bit more to 3 point victories. So I like Tampa plus 3.5 as my other pick. And then finally, Atlanta. The spot now is -2. By the way, all of these games are currently you can get them at -110 odds. Atlanta is hosting Washington. They're -2. Washington is without Jaden Daniels again. Marcus Mariota is certainly an adequate backup, but he's not Jaden Daniels. Atlanta was on the other end of that 30-point loss. That sets them up for a positive trend. Washington has some injuries, and with Jaden Daniels out, I like Atlanta -2. So those are my three bets that I'm making. My five picks in my contest are the Falcons. They're actually getting 2.5 points. Again, these spots are made earlier in the week and they are static. The Bucs are getting 3.5. The Patriots are giving 5.5, so that remains unchanged. And then the other two games that I like in the poll, not betting, the Jaguars plus 3.5. They are at San Francisco, and the Dallas Cowboys hosting Green Bay are getting 6.5. So there you have it. Like week four selections. And thank you for tuning in. Again, if you have not subscribed, please do so. Please feel free to like, feel free to make comments, whether you agree or disagree with me. It's always nice to see comments. And I will see you next time on Statistics Tell a Story. Thank you.